Have you ever felt that formless fear? That doesn't come from anything visible, but seems to live within your chest. It's the fear that appears when we're about to change, when something ends, or when life simply asks us to trust, even without understanding the path. Master Shi Heng Yi says that fear is like a shadow. It has no light of its own. It merely reflects the absence of our awareness. When we're not attentive, this shadow grows, and we believe it's real. But when we look again calmly, with presence, we realize that fear was never the enemy. It was merely a messenger. Fear is the echo of the past within the present. It's the voice that whispers, "What if I can't do it? What if I lose? Or what if it hurts again?" But, as the Master teaches, there is no liberation in running away from fear. True liberation arises when we look at it without judgment, without rushing, without trying to erase it, only by understanding it. Perhaps throughout your life, you've felt this many times. The fear of starting over after a loss, the fear of growing old, the fear of being forgotten. But Buddhism reminds us, everything we feel is also impermanent, just like the seasons. Fear also passes, if we let it pass through us and don't become it. Master Shi Heng Yi often says that fear doesn't need to be fought, it needs to be understood. When we resist, fear grows stronger. But when we observe it with a calm heart, it dissolves like mist at dawn. So before you continue, breathe deeply with me. Inhale, and as you exhale, imagine that you are releasing some of the weight that fear brings. Feel the air leaving, carrying away doubts, and making room for silence. This silence is what the Master calls the true beginning of courage, the space where the mind stops fighting and begins to understand. Today, in this video, we will walk together through this teaching. We will learn, with Master Shi Heng Yi, how to remove fear, not through force, but through clarity. Because inner peace is not born when fear disappears, but when we learn to walk side by side with it, in serenity. If this message already touches your heart, subscribe to the channel and continue with me on this journey of wisdom. Here, each reflection is an invitation to rediscover the calm that has always been within you. Chapter 2. What Buddhism teaches about fear. Buddhist teaching. Fear is understood not as an enemy, but as a reflection of the unawakened mind. According to Master Shi Heng Yi, fear arises when we forget the silent nature that dwells within us. When we believe we are only the body, possessions, or circumstances, fear sets in. Because all of this is impermanent. The body ages, people change, situations pass. And when we try to hold on to what cannot be held, fear is born. Buddhism teaches that fear is the first sign that we are still attached to what we believe we control. Therefore, the path is not to fight fear, but to understand what it is trying to show us. Shi Heng Yi explains that every fear is a teacher in disguise, pointing to what we have not yet accepted within ourselves. He says that the more we run, the more fear pursues us, but when we stop and look, it transforms into wisdom. The human mind, accustomed to security and predictability, creates stories to protect itself from the unknown. But the unknown is precisely where life reveals itself. Therefore, the Master invites each of us to observe fear with curiosity, like one would observe a frightened child. There is no need to reprimand it, just embrace it. When we accept feeling fear, it loses its power to dominate us. For Buddhism, the origin of fear lies in ignorance, in the illusion of separation between the self and the whole. When we realize that life is a continuous movement and that we are part of this flow, fear begins to dissolve naturally. The true antidote to fear is awakened consciousness, the kind that observes without clinging, that understands that nothing is permanent, and that everything that comes to teach. Shi Heng Yi reminds us that courage is not the absence of fear, but the presence of clarity. When there is clarity, fear becomes a light cloud that passes, not a storm that overwhelms us. The secret is to remain centered, where the heart is at peace, even when the mind tries to agitate. It is at this point that true spiritual freedom is born, not in eliminating fear, but in understanding its nature and allowing it to transform into light. Chapter 3. The Central Teaching of Master Shi Heng Yi. Master Shi Heng Yi teaches that fear is a form of energy, and like all energy, it transforms when looked at attentively. He explains that fear is not something that needs to be destroyed, but something that must be understood. In his words, fear is like a cloud that covers the sun, but can never extinguish its light. The light, in this case, is consciousness. When we are attentive and present, we realize that fear has no substance of its own. It lives only in the mind that believes in its thoughts. The Master often says that fear is born from a lack of clarity, and clarity comes from the practice of observation. Therefore, he invites each person to sit in silence and simply observe what they feel, without naming it, without fighting it, without trying to change it. Observation is the first step to liberation. When you become the observer and not the prisoner of emotions, fear begins to dissolve naturally. It loses strength because it ceases to be fueled by resistance. Shi Heng Yi says that there are two types of fear: physical fear and mental fear. Physical fear is natural and necessary. It is the instinct that protects life. But mental fear is created by thought. It imagines dangers that do not yet exist, relives past pains, and projects scenarios that may never happen. This is the fear that imprisons, the fear that prevents us from living in the present. When we learn to distinguish one from the other, we discover that most of our fears are not real. They are merely a construct of the mind. To dissolve this mental fear, the Master proposes a simple exercise. Sit in silence, close your eyes, and observe the flow of your breath. Inhale and feel the air entering. Exhale and feel your body relaxing. With each breath, mentally say, I see the fear. I welcome it. I let it go. With practice, fear begins to become transparent, like a mist illuminated by the sun of consciousness. Shi Heng Yi's teaching reminds us that courage does not come from strength, but from presence. Being courageous, according to him, is remaining conscious even when fear appears. It is not running away. It is not reacting. It is allowing fear to exist without becoming fear itself. And so, little by little, the mind becomes serene, the heart opens, and life flows lightly again. At that point, it is not the fear that disappears. It is the illusion that we were smaller than we really are. Chapter 4. Concrete Examples and Metaphors. Imagine a river flowing gently between the stones. Sometimes it encounters obstacles, curves, falls, but it never stops following its path. It does not fight against the stone. It simply goes around it. So too is fear in our lives. When we face it with resistance, it becomes a wall. But when we welcome it with serenity, it transforms into a path. Master Shi Heng Yi often says that fear is a stone in the flow of the mind, and that wisdom is learning to flow around it without losing the movement of life. Think of someone who has always dreamed of changing something, starting a new project, opening their heart, or simply saying what they feel. But fear always appears with its silent questions. What if it goes wrong? What if it's too late? This type of fear is common, especially when life has already taught us about losses and uncertainties. But the Master teaches that fear does not appear to stop us. It arises to test whether we truly wish to follow the path. It is the guardian of transformation. There is an ancient Buddhist parable that says, a disciple asked the Master, "How can I eliminate fear?" And the Master replied, "Stop feeding it." The disciple did not understand, and the Master explained, Fear is like a dog barking in the distance. If you run, it chases you. But if you stop and observe it, it loses interest and goes away. So it is with our thoughts. When we run from them, they grow. When we observe them, they dissolve. In everyday life, fear manifests itself in many ways. The fear of aging, the fear of losing loved ones, the fear of not having enough time. But Master Shi Heng Yi reminds us that fear is always linked to the attempt to control what is uncontrollable. When we let go of control, fear loses its foundation. Just like the river that doesn't try to hold back the water that has already passed, we too can learn to trust the flow of the present. True power, says the Master, lies not in eliminating fear, but in walking with it, awarely, calmly, with an open heart. When we do this, we realize that fear has always been an invitation to awaken, to understand, and to trust. And at that moment, the mind calms down, the body relaxes, and the spirit remembers. Peace is not at the end of the road. It is in every step taken with courage. Chapter 5. The Hidden Effects of Fear. Master Shi Heng Yi teaches that fear doesn't disappear simply because we ignore it. When we don't recognize it, it silently moves into the mind and begins to take root. It disguises itself as prudence, worry, a need for control. Gradually, it begins to influence our choices, our words, and even the way we breathe. Uncomprehended fear becomes an invisible companion, always present, always reminding us of what we don't want to feel. At the deepest level, fear closes the doors of the soul. It convinces us that it is safer to remain where we are, even if that place no longer brings peace. That is why, many times, we fail to try something new, fail to open ourselves to love, or fail to trust again. Fear creates a comfort zone that seems like protection, but it is only an invisible prison. Shi Heng Yi explains that fear is like a shadow that grows as we move away from the light, and that light is consciousness. Physically, fear also manifests itself. The heart races, the body tenses, sleep becomes light, the mind remains alert, even when the danger has passed. It's as if the body is constantly preparing for something that never arrives. Over time, this tension turns into tiredness, and tiredness into discouragement. The Master says that when fear takes over, vital energy ceases to circulate freely, and the soul loses the lightness of existence. But there is something even more subtle. Fear creates distance. It separates the self from the world, the heart from the other, the present from life. When we are dominated by fear, we look to the future with anxiety, and to the past with regret, and we forget the now. The now is the only place where fear cannot live, because fear needs thought to exist, and thought only inhabits time, never the present moment. Master Shi Heng Yi invites us to realize that each fear carries a message. The fear of losing is in fact a reminder that we need to learn to detach. The fear of loneliness is an invitation to find companionship within ourselves. The fear of death is a call to live with greater presence. When we begin to listen to what fear wants to teach us, it transforms. The energy that once paralyzed us begins to move us, and fear, which was once a prison, becomes a path. Chapter 6. Practice to dissolve. Fear. Master Shi Heng Yi teaches that fear dissolves as we learn to remain mindful. Therefore, he proposes a simple but profoundly transformative practice. Find a quiet place where you can sit comfortably. Close your eyes and begin by simply observing your breath. Don't try to control it, just feel the air coming in and out. Allow your body to settle into this natural rhythm, like the gentle ebb and flow of ocean waves. Now bring to mind something that triggers fear. It could be a memory, a worry, or an undefined sensation. Don't run away from it, just look. Notice where it manifests in your body, perhaps in your chest, your stomach, your throat. Feel this presence without judgment. Say silently, "I see you. I acknowledge your existence." Breathe deeply. With each inhale, imagine a clear light entering and touching the point where fear resides. With each exhale, visualize this light expanding, softening the inner space. Shi Heng Yi says that fear is stagnant energy, and that the breath is the wind that returns the movement. When we breathe consciously, we give fear the chance to transform into serenity. Continue breathing, and with each cycle, repeat mentally. I accept. I understand. I release. Gradually, notice the fear begin to dissolve, like mist dissipating at sunrise. There is no struggle, no resistance. There is only observation and surrender. Remain like this for a few moments, feeling your body lighter and your heart calmer. If thoughts arise, simply let them pass, like leaves carried by the wind. The Master reminds us that the mind is like a lake. When the waters are turbulent, nothing is reflected, but when they calm down, we can see the sky within them. Fear is this agitation, and practice is the silence that allows peace to reappear. When you open your eyes, realize that the world remains the same, but something within you has changed. Fear may return, but now it does not dominate you, because you know it, and what is known no longer frightens. This is the essence of practice, transforming fear into awareness, and awareness into freedom. Chapter 7. Spiritual Expansion. Master Shi Heng Yi reminds us that true courage is not the absence of fear, but the serenity to move forward, even when it is still present. Just as the sun doesn't need to fight clouds to shine, an awakened heart doesn't need to eliminate fear to live in peace. It simply embraces it, understands its nature, and lets it pass. This is the wisdom born of inner silence, the point where fear and courage meet and cease to be opposites. As the years pass, we learn that life is made of beginnings and goodbyes. We lose people, places, and versions of ourselves, and it's natural for fear to visit us, bringing memories and uncertainties. But when we look at these transformations with the eyes of consciousness, we realize that nothing has truly been lost. It has simply been transformed. Aging, which so many fear, is also a process of liberation. It is the moment when the soul learns to let go of what has already completed its cycle, and to trust in what is yet to come. Shi Heng Yi teaches that each cycle of life brings a type of fear, and with it, an opportunity for spiritual maturity. Fear of the unknown invites trust. Fear of loneliness teaches the value of presence. Fear of death reveals the mystery of continuity. Everything fear tries to hide is, in fact, a portal to wisdom. And when we cross this portal, we discover that fear was never an obstacle. It was the path to our inner selves. Buddhism reminds us that everything is impermanent. The body, our emotions, our thoughts, even fear itself. To know this is to find peace in the heart of change. The Master often says that the flower does not fear winter, for it knows that spring will come. Our soul should be the same, confident that each phase, however challenging it may seem, is part of the dance of existence. When we accept this truth, life becomes lighter. We begin to walk with fear, not against it. And in this journey, fear transforms into humility, uncertainty into faith, and time into wisdom. In the end, it's not the fear that disappears. It's the attachment to the idea that we should live without it. And when this understanding matures, the heart finally rests in silence, where nothing is lacking and everything is at peace. Chapter 8. Conclusion and Final Reflection. Master Shi Heng Yi teaches that removing fear is not erasing a part of ourselves, but bringing light to a space that was dark. When we stop fighting and begin to understand, something silent happens within the heart. The fear, once so present, begins to become small, and inner peace arises simply, like the sunrise after a long night. The light doesn't arrive with noise, it simply spreads, and the same happens with clarity. Perhaps fear never completely disappears, and that's not a mistake. It's part of human nature, a constant reminder that we are alive, feeling, learning. What changes is how we relate to it. When fear appears, we can breathe, smile, and say, "I see you, but now I know who I am." This simple awareness transforms everything. Fear ceases to be an enemy and becomes a guide, pointing out where we still need love and presence. For those who have lived through so many experiences, fear can take on different faces. Fear of loneliness, fear of losing one's health, fear of being forgotten. But there is a silent truth in each of them. Everything fear tries to protect is, at its core, love. Love for life, for people, for memories. When we see this, fear softens, and in its place is born gratitude for still being here, for still having time, for still being able to learn. Shi Heng Yi invites us to make fear our teacher, to observe it unhurriedly, to listen to it without judgment, and to respond with kindness. This is the practice of the awakened mind, remaining at peace even when emotions move like waves. And when we understand that serenity is a daily choice, we realize that we no longer need to run from anything. Fear loses its power when the heart learns to trust impermanence. So, as you conclude this reflection, take a deep breath, look within and ask yourself, what fear is still preventing me from living fully? The answer may come silently, but it will be the first step toward liberation. If this message brought peace to your heart, enjoy this video and share it with someone who needs to hear about courage and serenity. And if you wish to continue your journey, watch the video on the screen. I await you there with light and calm.